Welcome, I guess. Today I'm playing XCOM right now, and I'm thinking of how somewhat similar it is to that of with the mechanics of that of like Pokemon, and I decided to maybe kind of make a video about it, which I might at some point. But I decided to Google this to see if anybody else had the same idea what I had, and Google really did not know what XCOM was, so I just searched COM instead. So, didn't get anything really about XCOM, but I got a lot of stuff about Pokemon. And one of them was a video. And the video was relationships between unofficial relationships between Pokemon in game. And this is like between like how Clefairy and Gengar are very similar. Cubone is Kangaskhan's child or whatever. It's weird. This was made by someone in the Pokemon community, quote unquote. And as most of you might know, is I really do not like communities. In fact, I guess you could go out and say that I hate communities. And thinking back on it, I have to take back what I said about the two communities I said that were good in that last video that I made, or one of the videos before this. And that was about saying that the bro team and people who follow Lyle McDouchebag, I said they were pretty good, but bro team, a lot of their moderators on Twitch make it just a really bad time, and they just take their wrath out on people for what seems like not much reason, and so that is unfun. And then Lyle, I've noticed that he has a syndrome that similar to that of like Eminem and Alec Baldwin, in which they make some pretty good stuff, but they get their politics in the way. Literally for Eminem and Alec Baldwin, but for Lyle, it's more of like the blanket statement of politics and that of like how you think of people or how you think of their mindsets and stuff like that. With him, he just hates everybody, and so he's kind of out of the running for being liked, which I imagine he doesn't want to be liked, which is fine for him. But anyways, the Pokemon for the unofficial relationships was made by a guy named the Jaywitz. A guy, he's been on the rise in popularity for the past couple of weeks, and Jaywitz has been on the rise of popularity the past few years, and his videos are very well made. Don't get me wrong on that. His videos are like some of the like very professionally made, and it might be, and it's because of him going to school for this stuff and him actually doing it as his job, I guess you could say. And yeah, his videos are well made, and you can't really say much about that. But his past few videos that he's made, they're really pandering, and he uses a little bit of weird logic on them. But you know what? Whatever. Weird logic. I mean, he still has some good stuff in it, so whatever. But he had some references and jokes in them that really made me cringe. Not like pun cringe, but just cringe. And he's not one of those people who he's out there to make you cringe. There's a lot of other channels out there that are there for you to cringe. There's literally a place or channel called Cringe Channel, in which it's to do that, to make you cringe, to make you not feel good in your own skin, as it were. I hope you guys are actually noticing all these names that I've been giving people, and XCOM. These are some pretty stupid names. Anyways, okay, now that I've complained about him, the guy that I actually like, let's move on to some of the other people that I don't like. Next person I'm going to talk about is, well, let me preface this with something else. So no matter who you really are, you're always gonna be, in the majority of your life, and how you decide things is gonna be based off of two things in your mind, and that is, you're either going to decide either by like logic or rationality, or you're just gonna think it through. And then there's using your feelings to decide. So let me pertain this to XCOM. If you see people play Let's Plays every once in a while, they'll they might do things in which they will have one of their characters be saved, but might ruin the mission or something, just so that they can have the character saved. That's using your feelings to Sit Extraction Squad. Yeah, more info. Launch mission. Yeah, we need to get them. We need to get her the fuck out of there. And a lot of people I see do stuff like this. Well, they'll use feelings more than actual, like, thoughts and stuff. And it's not really exactly the best. And this pertains to a lot of other video games, especially like Pokemon. Like, people will say that this Pokemon is the best Pokemon because they used that as a kid and it wrecked through like red or blue or fire red, leaf green, whatever, it doesn't matter. Or they might say, you know, like, this gym leader is better than that gym leader because they had a really cool backstory, or they had like a really cool gym or whatever, like really neat looking gym. And a lot of people on YouTube who make Pokemon stuff are like that. Specifically one right now is that of TamashiiHiroka. I do not like talking about her, but I'm gonna have to. She always has her top 10s, top 5s, tops whatever videos based off of a few things. One, it's not often, but she talks about, with the top 10s, is that a sexualization of things in Pokemon. 2, being a girl on the internet. And 3, her past life, specifically her sister. Now, I don't want to dwell on the first two, because those first two of being like a girl on the internet or sexualization, I've already covered sexualization in another video, and you guys can see that. I'm not gonna link it. I might. I don't know. It's just taking a think whenever I upload this. But I don't want to talk about the being a girl on the internet, because that's a whole nother can of worms. And honestly, if I try to sum up my opinion on that in about 30 seconds, I'm going to be considered misogynist, honestly. So I'm not going to do it. So I might make that own video. I might just not even talk about it anymore. This might be the last time you ever hear me talk about it. This is new. This is like my first time playing through Enemy Within for a while, so I forgot about this. So this is kind of new for me. So this is kind of weird. And with the sexualization thing, you can't do shit about what other people draw or whatever. That would be impeding on their artistic skill, and while that's not illegal, which, I mean, I don't know if it's under debate for being illegal or not, which, you can talk about it if it's being adrenaline surge. Okay, you can like talk about it in the comments or whatever if it's talked about being considered illegal, about doing some more stuff to help people be more artistic, or not have people have their artistic skill impeded on. But anyways, you can't really do that. People will draw whatever the hell they want to. They'll draw sick shit. They'll always draw really cool stuff. You know, stuff like that. You can't do anything about it, honestly. That's the sad truth about it. You can't really control other people legally. Unless they're your child or something. But, alright, I apologize for that. XCOM decided to crash on me. So I have to go back about, like, 30 minutes or before from my last save, which was here. So what was I talking about? I was talking about art. Specifically, people impeding on art. Okay, and now I will move on to the third one. Third thing I was talking about with her having her sister and problems with her sister. I can talk about that because I actually can have an opinion on this because I have a sister who was, I'm guessing, in a somewhat similar situation. For I'm gonna say about 5, when I was 5 until about like 12, 13, she was a lot of problems for me. And it wasn't until she was about like 11 or so when she actually had problems with the law or so, or some stuff along the lines of that. So yeah, I had some problems with my sister, and look at me now. I'm still an angry person, and my sister made I'm not gonna bullshit you, but my sister made my life a hell for that 8 years or whatever, which is really unneeded because you're a kid and you're just trying to get by in life, trying to see how everything fucking works, not being constantly terrorized by your asshole sister. I'm sorry, sister, but this is true. You were kind of a douche back then. If you actually watch this, which you might not, I don't think you do. She's better now, by the way, if you guys really wanted to know. But now that I've calmed down with that shite, I'm still an angry person, but I'm like transitioning from that unfun lifestyle that I used to have of like just being angry constantly and just pessimistic and just, you know, not cool really. But for her, she from the last video that I watched, she's in college or something, and unless if you're like in a arts degree, shit. Well, I think I can work with that. I didn't mean to do that. That was really retarded. But unless if you're like in an arts degree or something, and not liberal arts, by the way, that's not really going to help out for you, honestly. It's probably going to impede on that. And I might be completely wrong on this. She might actually not be like this in regular life with dealing with other things. It just might be with Pokemon. I don't know. But I am dealing with the cards that have been laid down on the table, so this is what I'm basing my opinion off. And I don't like doing that, but it's all that I've got to work with. And if I'm going to complain, I got to complain with what I have. I can't make random shit up. Unless if it's like something which then I can. One more thing. I feel like that a lot of people who watch Tamashi's videos, after hearing this stuff and kind of maybe seeing her quality drop a little bit, or at least with realizing how she actually makes her decisions on stuff like this, still watch her, but only that of feeling bad for her, which I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna move on. Don't watch people's stuff just because you feel bad for them. Don't listen to Eminem just because he's had somewhat of a bad life or something like that. Look at people's content based on their merit, based on whether or not it's good. Wait, before I move on to the next person, I want to say just to add, I was subscribed for like 2 days or something, and this is where I get a lot of my stuff off of. That, and that she also she really trash talked Fire Red and Leaf Green, or at least a lot more than what was needed. And that game was pretty good, and she really talked about how it wasn't that really good or something like that. And that's not cool, because, you know, if something well made like that is very good and someone trash talks it like that, I don't see that as someone who's just cynical. And also with her comment system was just complete trash. Okay, off of that, So moving off of misogyny, we're gonna move on to race relations. Now, what I mean by that, I mean people are going probably going to perceive this as of me complaining about women, and then also Spanish people or something. Because this guy, you really don't see his face often. And, or at least I don't, because I only really seen his avatar, and I haven't seen all of his videos. I've only seen a handful of them. So I don't know if I've seen him actually in, like, real life. And I'm not sure if he, but from what it looks like, it seems like he's, like, Spanish or Portuguese or something. But if you guys know who I'm talking about, it's, the guy by the name of the King Nappy. I believe that's what his name is. This guy is a really interesting case because he's the only one out of all these people that I'm talking about who I haven't subscribed to, but I've seen some of his videos, like I've mentioned before. Man, they are really handing me a stacked deck in this game. But I still can make a couple of observations off of the videos that I've seen off of him. He swears a lot. Like, a lot. I swear a lot, but it's not in these videos. I swear a lot more in, like, real life around my friends. And really the real reason why is because I stopped myself, because I would have to censor it out, and fucking YouTube is a bunch of He also does a similar thing to that at Tamashi, in which he uses his personal life bias to make his decisions, or at least in his videos. And it's not really that of, like, more traumatizing stuff, but it's not really perceived as traumatizing stuff, or at least how he speaks of it, it doesn't seem like it's that traumatizing. Which, and that is, he is a part of the group of people that is, like, the second most hated group on the internet that's on the internet. So that takes out a lot of people, or at least a majority of them are on the internet. Actually, number one, all of them are on the internet. Anyways, and with him being the number 2 is that he is a Gen 1er, and if you guys don't know what that is, that's a group of people who think that the first generation of Pokemon, which is Red, Blue, and Yellow, are the best games and really the only games. He is not as bad as some of the other people that I've seen before, which they only think that, but he still actually believes, he still plays the other games, but he just thinks that the first ones are the best ones and really the only ones. And with his top 10 favorite Pokemon or top 5 favorite Pokemon, it was riddled with generation Pokemon, except for one of them, which was Darmanitan or Darmanition, or however the hell you say it. And he also makes an even bigger offense than that of liking the first generation, because to me that's a little bit acceptable, maybe in a kind of a weird way, and that is whenever he does these top 10 or top 5s, he doesn't really back them with much factual stuff. He just, like, says things like it's just really cool with its design, or doesn't really tell much about the stats in the video. Now, this might have changed the past couple of top 10s, because I haven't watched them in like a month, 2 months, 3 months maybe. I'm not sure. He might have changed it in the past couple of ones, but in the first couple of, like, top 10s or whatever that he's made, it's really apparent. And even more ironically is that in his videos in which he does, like, let's plays of the actual, like, games themselves, he talks about the stats in them. Like, more in the game in which you're playing the story mode, in which the stats don't really matter. And I don't think he really talks about them competitive. Now he might, I haven't really seen many of those, so I might be completely wrong on that. If I am, please let me know, I'll change it. Or I'll fix it, or I'll come back and say, you know, I was wrong on that, I was stupid, I apologize. But yeah, he doesn't, with some of his stuff, he doesn't really back it, and that's not really cool, because whenever you say something, you usually need to back it, or else people are going to perceive you as being irrational. Ah, shit, there's a zombie. I might talk about zombies in the video, but that's a whole nother can of worms. Completely different to this. He does talk about the stats and stuff, but it's just at the wrong time. Wrong place, wrong time. Moving on. I will do these two at the same time, mostly because they do a Let's Play channel together, and they do a lot of other stuff together also. And that is Dookie Shed and Nate What's the Battle. Now, the 3 people who originally watched my first XCOM video, you'll know that's the reason why I'm playing XCOM. They do a lot of Pokemon games, or at least from the last time that I remember watching them. But they've done some other things like Minecraft, Silent Hill, and Cube World. I almost said Silent World. Is that actually a game? I imagine it is. But that'd be even more like meta if they actually played it. Nate is kind of better with not really talking about his opinion, but he has some pandery stuff, and he talks about Zelda often, also, or probably more often than he does about Pokemon, other than him having a show about it. He's somewhat pandery with it, which I frown upon. I don't like things being pandery, but I'm not sure about other people. People think might be okay or whatever. I don't know. But Dookie Shed, he's even worse. He's completely different, actually. How he deals with Pokemon, and more importantly, handling with that of other people's opinions. He likes to do this thing in which he really does not care for other people's opinions whatsoever. I mean by this, like he cares about his friends and stuff, where he caring. Hold on, sorry about that. Someone just came into the room. Where was I? I was with him, seeming like he cares about his friends' opinions, but I've met with some of these people before, with people who don't really care about other people's opinions. They don't care about anyone's opinions, even their friends. And he doesn't care for other people's opinions so much that he doesn't. He pushes his opinion onto them with what seems like brute force, and that just blows my mind. It really does. I mean, people do this all the time, and this is a bad thing to do. It's really a bad thing, because it can end up with brainwashing and causing horrible things to happen. You guys could probably already tell what I'm talking about, and that is of during the first 50 years of the 1900s. So you can find out what I'm talking about with that if you've taken my hint already. And so, yeah, him just trying to brainwash other people, I'm not cool with. I mean, people can watch this video if they have the same opinion on stuff as him. That's totally fine with me. But he needs to change a little bit on how he handles opinions. I don't like this at all with that. Okay, I want a little addendum before I go off completely, but I still watch these people's videos, but the only way I really do is by that of doing a thing that people like to do for another person called Dark Side Phil, and that is they just watch their videos and then pause it and then they make fun of it somehow. That's what I do with some of these people, specifically Tamashi and Dookie Shed, because those are the ones that I really do not like the most. And also, just try to stay away from the community of Pokemon, or at least the videos that pertain to them. Just try to stay away from them. It's probably the best thing to do. So I hope I've shed some light on this stuff, and hopefully you might put a little bit more thought on clicking their like, favorite, subscribe buttons, you know, stuff like that. And yeah, so this has been, which I'm hoping this might be a series if I actually feel like doing more of this, called XCOMplaining. Hope you guys have a good day, and hopefully nothing really shitty happens to you. Unless if you're an awful person. Like you're a terrorist group or something. Which then you can go and die in a fire. So on that note, let's end. Goodbye.